have advantage. 5 minutes left. Keep it up. Double down. Don't be lost. You made that look easy, Warlock. Zone advantage is yours. 5 minutes. 2 for 1. Your enemy can't.
So yeah, those were some neat kills to open up the video with, huh? I mean, I mostly appreciate those throwback 183 taps because it reminds me of the good old days when Luna's Howl and Not Forgotten were usable. Ah, the good old days. Anyways, today in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to become the human sentry gun in Destiny 2. But before we do that, make sure you take a second and like the video, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel for more. We are on our way. We are going strong with our goal to hit 10,000 subscribers as soon as possible. We just recently passed 5,600 subscribers. The sub growth has been steady and amazing, and we appreciate you. So every single time you do it, we appreciate you a little bit more, so make sure you do it, damn it. And let's get right into the build video. Alright, now we got that out of the way. Fellas, let's be honest with ourselves for a second. When it comes down to the art of wearing a dress and being smart and playing Warlock in Destiny, it's kind of been a solved problem for a long time now in terms of what your exotic is. Let's be honest, 99% of you are running Ophidians or Transversives pretty much all the time. You'll see the occasional, like Verity's Brow or a Nezarex, and maybe you see, what's that? Little spicy going on. We got like a Chromatic Fire or a Wings of Sacred Dawn. But for the most part, as much as it was with Hunter and Titan for a long time, these neutral game exotics are just so good and so multi-applicable that it's just the best thing to splash in every single build. So a lot of Warlock build crafting came from the subclass side of things, especially in Stasis and then into Void. That's pretty much the same for Solar, I'm not gonna lie. Most of your builds are still centered around Ophidian aspects or transversal steps because they're just so good. I, however, am nothing if not a needless contrarian, so whenever I play Warlock, I try and find different things to play with, and one that I keep coming back to over and over, season after season, is the Lunafaction boots. Lunafaction boots might be, alongside Peregrine Greaves, one of the most underrated PvP applicable exotics in the game. Because what it does is it says, okay, Warlock. Most of the time you're floating, you're playing in air, or you're spamming abilities. Okay, we're just gonna throw all that out the window and you are going to become a sentry. You are going to become the laniest of Larrys, the king of the lanes, some may say. And as long as that rift is down and those Lunas be equipped on your little toesies, who will stop you? Now, some of you may say, oh cool, I get to cosplay as Bastion from Overwatch. But Overwatch is cringe, so I prefer to look at it as, I finally found a way to play the Engineer from Team Fortress 2 in Destiny 2. We're going to build a sentry, we're going to hold these lanes, and we are going to cause a whole lot of mayhem. So let's get into the specifics. We are going to be playing on the Solar Warlock subclass. We're going to be using the Well of Radiant Super, Empowering Rift. Honestly, your choice of melee here, I like the Radiant Snap melee just because damage boosts are fun. I prefer Firebolt grenades, as we'll get into. And in terms of aspects, we are going to be running Icarus Dash, and then the Touch of Flame aspect for its improved fusion grenade capabilities. Again, we will amend this in a second as to why. For fragments, we are running Ember of Torches, so that our powered melees will grant us Radiant. Ember of Solace, so that the Radiant and Restoration effects we apply to ourselves have increased duration. The Ember of Ashes, so that we apply more Scorch stacks when we do Scorch somebody. And then lastly, Ember of Singeing, so that our class ability recharges faster whenever you Scorch a target. Keynote, Firebolts apply Scorch. So the basic gameplay loop of this build is, you find the lane that you want to dominate. You hit your class ability button. your Empowering Rift goes down. You have Classy Restoration on your class item, granting you Restoration for 6 to 7 seconds. You then use your Lunafaction boots to reach out and poke people far beyond your normal ranges, and you own that lane for the duration of your Rift. Once the Rift is up, you then play as normal. You no longer have your exotic effectively because your Rift is on cooldown, and during that time you are playing the game normally. And what you want to do is recharge your Rift as fast as possible. This is where the Fire Bolts and the Snap Melee come into play. Any tag with a Firebolt will apply Scorch. Scorch will help recharge your class ability faster. We're running 100 Recovery, so where you have the maximum Rift cooldown. So anytime you Scorch anybody, you are getting that class ability back even faster, allowing you to use more Rifts. From there, it's rinse, repeat. You Rift, then you Scorch to get back the Rift. You Rift, you Scorch to get back the Rift. And then once you get your Well of Radiance is just a giant Lunafaction well. Find your biggest lane or control point you need, plant that staff down, and start laying into people. The conceit of the playstyle is very straightforward, however it is very execution heavy, but let's first talk about why Lunafactions are so important to this and what they are doing specifically in this case. For those maybe less familiar, Lunafactions not only will provide you Outlaw all the time inside of your Rifts, if you're standing in an Empowered Rift, your Empowerment Rift, or your Well of Radiance, you are going to get a significant increase to the range of your weapons while it is active. What is that range exactly? Well, keep in mind that Empowerment Rift gives you a 15% damage boost, but it appears that roughly Lunafactions will double the range of whatever weapon you have equipped. So if you have a hand cannon with 30 meters of range, it will reach out to 60 meters of range. But that's not even really all of the case, because you have to consider your damage is being boosted before your range is increased. So really it's more like a 2.5 or maybe even 3 times increase to your overall range, because once you start experiencing your new damage fall off, you first have to fall back to base damage before you are starting to do less damage overall. Again, another range increase. What's really cool about this is that Lunafactions enable you to take weapons that normally have no business sitting in a lane and make them extremely effective. You want to relive the glory days when hand cannons had 40 plus meters of range? Take your favorite Offstringer, put on Lunafaction, and pretend you're using a scout rifle. You want that Sheora's Wrath God roll to feel like it's actually cheating and have over 50 meters of range? Lunafactions. You want the worst weapon archetype in the game, 180 RPM hand cannons, to feel like old, pre-nerf not forgotten? Lunafaction Rifts. It's awesome. And most of all, my favorite thing, we talked about it recently in the Wizard Rebuke video, if you want to relive the good old days of air intel sniper rifles, you bust out the Lunafactions. So where this build gets very effective is in your ability as a player to find the best locations to put your Rifts. And this is why I made the Sentry comparison. Because just like in TF2, where Sentry placement is the most important part of being an engineer, your Rift placement as a Lunafaction Warlock is pivotal. A bad Rift that does nothing is just an extended cooldown, and it's more time where you effectively don't have an exotic equipped. Remember, you don't have Ophidians, you don't have Transversive Steps, so your neutral game is worse than other Warlocks, and indeed most other classes. But if you have good map knowledge and you have good aim to back it up, you can find the most gremlin or contested Rift locations and become a lane dominant player. It's a very fun and honestly unique playstyle for Destiny. The major downside is that Well of Radiance is unfortunately kind of a bad super in PvP, just because it's so, how do I put it? It's so obvious when a Well of Radiance is down that people are smart, they won't peek into it, or they will just super it, or they will just gang up on you and punish you. It's hard to get really cheeky and creative with well placement. Empowering Rifts, on the other hand, are where you can be a total gremlin and surprise people. And most of all, what's nice is that it takes weapons that have no business being good in certain situations and makes them fun and unique. And if nothing else, it's just kind of funny when you 50 meter someone with a fusion rifle and they're left wondering what the hell just happened. Plus, if you look at it this way, considering certain changes to airborne accuracy recently, clearly this is the way that Bungie intends us to play the game. But in all seriousness, my favorite part of this build by far is that it makes 180 hand cannons feel somewhat viable. If you've ever used 180 hand cannons, you know they are not good. But if you have 180 hand cannon god rolls and you want them to feel more powerful than they ever have, I do strongly recommend you try this build. It's going to make you think they are actually good to the point where you might use them regularly and then you'll remember that, wait a minute, no they aren't. But as long as someone is below 8 resilience, you're 3-tapping and you're lunafaction ripped. Sometimes at 50, 60 meters. You know, the .67 not forgotten time to kill at like 60 meters. It's pretty absurd. I didn't get a clip of it, but I had one game on the new map where in my Well of Radiance with a kill clip Survivor's Epitaph with kill clip active inside my Well of Radiance, I actually 2-tapped someone. I did 98 to the head with a 180 hand cannon at like 45 meters. That's pretty absurd. So yeah, pretty straightforward build today, but it's different, it's unique, and I want you guys to give it a try. That is going to be end of this Solar 3.0 Warlock build video. If you guys give it a try, let me know what you think in the comments down below. What builds are you running on any of your characters? We have more build crafting stuff coming down the pipeline. If you guys enjoyed the content, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more, leave a comment down below, like I said. And most of all, make sure you guys are having a good day. Make sure you're being well, you're getting out there, drinking water. Make sure you stand up, stretch out. You know, pet your dog, call your mom, tell her you love her. You probably haven't called her recently. I know you. Make sure you call your moms. And other than that, you guys have a wonderful day. Later.